And this raises a question of going back to politics. Does it make sense to think of the South as moving in an anti-democratic direction during this period, in contrast to a more democratic North, which is something we've seen in the readings so far and we'll see pushed in the readings to come?
Right. You know, that's like capitalism, we have to define what we mean by democracy. Certainly, as de Tocqueville said when he turned up from France and decided not to write a book about prisons, but to write a book about democracy, this was the sort of central trope of the political culture of the United States, South and North. Most people in the South talk about democracy. They don't, in most of this period. But I do think that as the 1850s goes along, and you know, we see this in Cinna, we see this in Stephanie McCurry's book, we see this in older books, like there was a book on the secession of Georgia, which went on to show how as soon as they got out of the Union, they adopted a whole new constitution in Georgia, which limited the right to vote for white people. You know, so there is an anti-democratic ethos, I think, and the upper echelons of Southern society. Now, yes, there are plenty of upper echelon Northerners who also are disdainful of democracy. Read the diary of George Templeton Strong here in New York City, you know. Universal suffrage is considered rather dangerous by a lot of upper class people North. But in the North, they're not going to say that. They say in their diary, no one is publicly challenging the democracy in the North. The democracy that exists, it's not for women, it's not for African Americans, but the white male democracy. I think in the South you begin to get a more powerful public critique of political democracy, and that's, I think, why Manisha Sinha calls her book the counter-revolution of slavery. It's not just a revolution against, you know, a political party, but against a whole 19th century democratic impulse, which many Southerners feel is inimical in some way to slavery.